Welcome in to the Clay Edwards Show here on YouTube, the Save Jackson YouTube. This is our morning news you can use segment. Trying to do one of these every morning. Some days there's just not enough news to give you a video, and I just hate making content for the sake of making content. Then we got a couple stories here. We're going to start with the Goon Squad. Ringleader fights back against 27-year sentence, calling it excessive in the appeal, in what is a story that just absolutely will not go away. The media continues to dredge up Goon Squad stories. I guess I'm doing the same thing by covering the story again, but it continues. More stuff comes out. And I'm going to be honest with you here. I slightly conflicted on this because I don't know the guys personally. I know people that know them, but I actually think he's right. He signed a bad deal. They didn't hold up to their end of the bargain, and he got way more time than anybody else and actually did less, and he really was not the ringleader. So the government lied. Imagine that. Let's jump over here to WLBT and see what's going on with Brett McAlpin and his sentence.
Who pleaded guilty to the section.
Sorry, I actually had that there because I needed that screenshot. Let's do this.
Tonight, new details involving one convicted member of the Goon Squad.
Yeah, the man described by investigators as the ringleader in a torture case last year, now saying he got too much prison time for his role.
Investigative reporter CJ LeMaster breaks it all down. CJ?
Well, it's a story you first saw here on WLBT. It's also something we first told you back in April. Former Rankin County Chief Investigator Brett McAlpin pushing back against that federal prison sentence he got last year for his role in the rape and torture of two black men. Now
can't help themselves. I like CJ LeMaster's, nothing but respect for him, but they just can't help themselves. Two black men. And they never mention that the other victims, when they released the big file on the whole case and everything, there was way more white victims than black. But that just sells, the sizzle sells. And that's exactly why every time a murder suspect or whatever, a carjacker is black, I mention their race. Not because I give two craps about them being black or not, but people can't help but click on it. And you're just not allowed anymore. You're not allowed to mention race of black people unless something bad happened to them or they accomplished something. But if they steal a car, kill somebody, rob a store, any of that, they cannot stand you mentioning they were black. But we do that for every other race. Well, just going to keep the rules fair and balanced. That's all I want. Anyway, continuing on.
Now, for the first time, we're hearing how he plans to convince the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. McAlpin was one of 6 former Rankin County law enforcement officers who pleaded guilty to the sexual assault and torture of Michael Corey Jenkins and Eddie Terrell Parker last year. Prosecutors maintain that McAlpin kicked it all off when he told deputies to check out a house for alleged drug activity. Those deputies then broke into the home, tased Jenkins and Parker repeatedly, and shot Jenkins in the mouth.
I want to say this. One of these guys is continuously stayed in trouble, been arrested since. These weren't good guys. Now, does that constitute what happened to them that night? No, absolutely not. But I just love how the media completely ignores that. They completely ignore all of that. One of them refuses to pay child support. There's a warrant out for his arrest, but nobody wants to go serve it because of this lawsuit. It's going to be one of them deals where these guys get a couple million. This is just my opinion, just Clay's opinion here. I'm not stating this is material fact. These guys are going to get a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, and I'm going to predict within 2 to 3 years, they'll either both be dead or in jail. That's just my opinion. But I know how people work. People that ain't never had money get money, and it don't take long, and they ain't got no money. And the entire family's run through them, used them, abused them, women, partying, all that. Been there, done it. Got the tattoos, got the T-shirt, got the memories, and ain't got no money. Anyway, continuing on.
While McAlpin maintains he didn't order anyone to do anything in the home nor participated, he was there when most of it happened. He was also heavily involved in the cover-up that followed. Now, you might be wondering how McAlpin could appeal since he signed a plea agreement waiving that right. McAlpin's attorney says the plea agreement his client signed was null and void because it didn't offer his client anything in return for his cooperation with law enforcement.
Now, he shouldn't have signed it if they didn't offer anything. That's just my opinion. I don't know. Maybe his lawyer said something different. I am not a lawyer. We will talk about this Friday morning with my in-house attorney on the radio show, Sean Yurtkaran, and see what his opinion on that is. He wasn't the ringleader. The ringleader or the leader of the Goon Squad is Middleton. Even the challenge coins had Middleton's name on it. It's called Middleton's Goon Squad. That would insinuate that he was the ringleader. Now, of course, I haven't read the entire investigation. I don't know what all the cops know. But again, I mean, it's called Middleton's Goon Squad, not McAlpin's Goon Squad.
The attorney says the feds didn't dismiss any counts against him, and because it didn't offer him any benefit for cooperating, that the government breached the plea agreement. McAlpin's lawyer also says his client got the second highest sentence of those 6 men, 327 months, even though his role was not as prominent as anyone else's. Investigators concluded former Deputy Jeffrey Middleton was actually in charge of the Goon Squad itself, and former Deputy Hunter Elward nearly killed Jenkins when he shot him in the mouth. Still, those men got fewer years behind bars than McAlpin. McAlpin's lawyer also claims the government lumped in other cases where McAlpin was accused but never convicted of similar torture or cover-ups and enhanced his penalties based on what he called unproven claims. Courtney Ann?
So what do you guys think? I've read the entire 27 pages of all the other cases, and my understanding of the way the feds work is they offer you a plea, and they kind of lump everything together and say, here's the deal. We've got all this. There will be no more cases. You're agreeing to 27 years for all these crimes, even though there's not going to be a trial for them. You signing this plea is agreeing that this all happened. Now, as I say that out loud, I actually think I may be backing off my original statement about him being right. It does suck for him that on this particular incident, he didn't pull the trigger. He wasn't the ringleader. But he was involved in a lot of other stuff. Now, was it proven in court? Let me say this, allegedly involved in a lot of other incidents that didn't go to court. But it's just like this corruption thing in Jackson that's going on. When and if the mayor and more city council people are convicted or they agree to a plea, the feds are basically saying, we're not going to bring up any of these other things like the alleged garbage contract. I'm just throwing stuff against the wall here. Don't quote me on none of this. I'm just trying to make it make sense. So does he deserve to be in jail 27 years? Yes, if all of the other stuff is true. I mean, there's terrible stories from people in that. I implore you to go back through my podcast, search Goon Squad, and listen, or just Google Jerry Mitchell, the New York Times, Mississippi Today. They did a lot of good work on this story. And I don't normally plug liberal outlets, but it is what it is. Every now and then, they actually do really, really good investigative work. We interviewed Jerry Mitchell on my radio show about this, and I've spoken to multiple people that know McAlpin, had relationships with McAlpin, and nobody has anything good to say nowadays. But it's easy to roll somebody under the bus when they're not there to defend themselves on stuff that wasn't mainstream news. So I don't know if all the other stuff is true. And I've questioned some of it. Some of the other stories, which, by the way, I want to say it one more time because it's always brought up about these two guys being black. The overwhelming majority of their victims, alleged victims, was poor white trash from the Robin Hood area and out here in Rankin County and the rural areas of Rankin County. Opioid abusers, meth abusers, just what you would generally call white trash. And there were some people who claimed to be 100% innocent because, hey, everybody is. I don't know. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. So it's very convenient for people to come out after the fact and say, oh, yeah, I was roughed up by these guys. I was tortured by these guys too. Well, where was your story 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, before this. Now, the flip side to that is that they say there's a massive cover up there that people would call and complain. And the sheriff would just basically ignore the complaints. And I could understand why he would. Just given the source. I could understand why he would. Should have he? No. And I think they have things in place now where every complaint gets investigated and treated as if it actually happened until proven otherwise. They've done a lot of work overhauling the sheriff's department. Still rumors that the sheriff could be indicted. Just you hear all kind of stuff. Who knows if it's true until it happens? The feds move slow, but once they move, if they get that indictment, you're guilty. I mean, they have a 94, 95%, maybe higher conviction rate, or people at least plea out because they have bottomless pockets. They can do whatever they want. This story's not going to be going away for a while. You're going to hear a lot more about the Goon Squad, unfortunately. It's going to be a continued black eye on Rankin County, on race relations in Mississippi, because they continue to make it only about these two black guys that happened out here that night in Braxton at that house. There's going to end up being movies made about this, books written about it. The story ain't going away. It checks off all the boxes for a sultry Mississippi racism story nationally. And man, nationally, they love their Southern racism stories. Anytime they can spin it. I'm just got the DNC on in the background now. Every other word is something about racism, white supremacy, all that. When you give them red meat like this, they're going to bite onto it and they're going to sling it around and they're going to run it through the ringer. They're going to make all of us look bad. It doesn't matter. I was going to do more stories, but like always, speaking of red meat, I sink my teeth into one like this. We're already 12 minutes in. I try to keep these short for you in the morning. I'll just make some more separate videos. You can watch them on demand. Check out the video we just posted last night about the Mayflower restaurant downtown reopening, and another video we just made about the city of Richland banning kratom, and it's effective immediately. How many people will suffer that use kratom to help battle their opioid addictions? Only time will tell. Listen to me on the radio Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., 103.9 FM, WYAB. Please hit like, subscribe, and share on this video. And guys, if you're possibly suffering from low testosterone, hey, bro, we're going to hook you up with a free testosterone screening at Men's Health in Mississippi. Are you suffering from fatigue, decreased muscle tone, lack of energy, low libido? That's your sex drive. Brain fog, maybe sleep disturbances. All of those are potential symptoms of low T. Another one, I like to say this one because it's so true. It's a great sign. I was suffering from low T. Wasn't waking up with that morning wood anymore. Didn't need to go outside and pee in the backyard. I'm laughing, but it's true. Hey, if you're not waking up with that morning wood needing to be chopped down, that's a hell of a symptom of low testosterone. Text my name, Clay, to 601-327-8550. Men's Health in Mississippi out there in Madison is going to get you hooked up today. They also are now offering compounded semaglutide, basically generic Ozempic. Save thousands of dollars a month by using compounded semaglutide instead of name brand Ozempic, and lose that weight you need to lose. But hey, only if you need to lose 20 pounds or more. If you only need to lose 5 or 10 pounds, cut back on the carbs and you'll lose some weight pretty quick. But if you're teetering on the obesity line, check out compounded semaglutide from Men's Health of Mississippi. Text weight loss to that same number, 601-327-8550, and they'll get you hooked up. It's 2 clinics under one roof. That's why there's 2 different promo codes, by the way. Same number, 2 different clinics. It helps them sort it out if you text the right thing. Text Clay for testosterone. Text weight loss for the compounded Ozempic. You guys stay blessed, stay safe. I don't know if there'll be another video today. It's Friday. We'll see how it all shakes out. Last Friday, there was a mass shooting, so we made videos all weekend. I'll be on 2 podcasts this upcoming weekend. Today, Friday at 3:15, I'll be on Lindsey Beckham's Raising Liberty with Lindsey Beckham at 3:15. It'll be streaming live on her Facebook page and available on all audio platforms. Again, just search Raising Liberty with Lindsey Beckham after about 5 o'clock Friday. Also, Saturday, 1 p.m., I'll be on Unleashed Talk Entertainment with Daryl Dirty D Arnold, one of my lifelong friends. We're going to dive into all kind of crazy stories. Should be a good time with Daryl. We lived in Los Angeles together in 1999, 2000, back in that time frame. Daryl played bass with 70s teen idol Leif Garrett, as well as tons of bands around here. Now he works for the state of Mississippi, and he's heavily involved in the Republican Party and whatnot. So we should have a great conversation, and we'll see you. Peace out.